Guys, I present to you this week's lunchtime poll topic. If you were on a plane that was hijacked and it was headed for the White House, would you try to kill the terrorists and become an American hero for saving Donald Trump, or would you let them crash it and you and everyone else on the plane dies?
Man, that's a hard question right there.
I would crash it.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Well, no. You can't crash it because then you create more love for the president.
That's a good point.
You create like nationalism.
What if?
That's the hard thing.
No, actually, there's no counterpoint to that. Yeah, you can't crash it.
So you got to become an American hero.
You got to become an American hero so then you can get close to them. And knowing how stupid Trump is, you can like guide him towards doing good stuff maybe. Although I think he's too stupid for that, huh?
I mean, I don't know. I think that's worth a shot, though.
Yeah, it could work. This is David, as usual. Doovie. Joined by Brandon, aka Uncultured Podcast.
Yeah, that's me.
No, Uncultured Pop Culture.
Wow, we're off to a bad start here.
I messed it up so bad. We're off to a terrible start. But we have someone that's going to actively save it because we are joined by a very special guest, both a friend of the pod and one of our main listeners, Bekah. Welcome.
I am top listener. Spotify Wrapped told me this.
That's right.
Hello.
Hello and welcome.
Thank you for being one of like 3 listens on the podcast.
I do love that your main demographic is Black women.
Hell yeah.
And I hope it stays that way.
Yes.
We wouldn't have it any other way. We thank you for joining the podcast after all of this time to share with us 2 things that you love, that you chose.
That's right.
And I want to ask you, before you explain why you chose these things, would you like to introduce yourself and tell the people a little bit about Bekah, the person?
Bekah, the person. Did I meet both of you in 2023?
I think so.
I believe so. Yeah.
Well, that's me. We both went to school together. We met in screenwriting club-ish.
Yeah.
Yes, Bekah was the biggest fan of the Screenwriters Club.
That's right.
Which was great.
I think you're the only person that showed up for every meeting ever.
I'm pretty sure.
I do take pride in that as well. But I am Bekah. I do writes. I like to sew. There is not much about me. I am a friend of the podcast, and that is most of my... I don't know what I was going to say in that.
Don't worry. That's how most of it goes with us.
Yeah.
I did want to shout out. You make amazing costumes.
Thank you.
Yes, very amazing costumes. And you can feel free to plug that account right now, or I'll make you do it at the end as well. So it's up to you.
If you like costuming or sewing or fashion, I everything I'm at Bekah Bobo. Sometimes it's with an extra H if Bekah Bobo is taken. But that is most what I do because I don't write anymore.
That's understandable. I don't really either. But
I gotta get both of you to start writing.
So before we get into this episode, we have to ask the eternal question. And I'm going to start with David. David, what have you watched in this past week?
This past week, I finally got a chance. I guess not finally, because I talked about going to the theater last week too. But I went and I saw a double feature. I saw Is This Thing On, which is Bradley Cooper's new movie. And it was just very meh. I honestly fell asleep part of the way through. Not because it was bad, but because I was very,
I don't know.
very
That's
tired.
not a good sign, though.
But it's a 3. Well, that could also be, yeah. I don't know what happened in the middle because I was asleep, but it was a 3. It was just very eh. It kind of felt like they didn't know what they wanted the movie to be about or to say about marriage because it was about like a divorce and et cetera, et cetera. And then the second one I saw was called Song Sung Blue, which is the new movie with, I forgot their names, Hugh Jackman and Kate Hudson. That's what it was. And it was about like a actual, I think it was a Neil Diamond tribute band, a couple that, worked as a Neil Diamond tribute band and, the ups and downs of their work. And it was nice. It was a 3.5. I enjoyed it. It wasn't anything special. It was kind of like your typical biopic, but it was enjoyable for what it was. And both of them were very good in it. I'm happy to see that Kate Hudson is starting to be in more stuff, at least more stuff that's on my radar. So yeah, pretty good start to the year, I guess. And both applicable for my top 10 because they both come out in December. Although I don't think they will make it.
I was going to say, I hope there's better movies than those two, but we'll see.
Fingers crossed. Now I'm going to toss the question over to you. What have you been listening to, Brandon?
Well, I listened to an album this past week, and it was all right. It was actually better than I expected. It's called Before I Forget by the Kid Laroi. Just came out a few days ago. I was not expecting to like this. I'm not really a fan of the Kid Laroi, and I don't know that I necessarily liked it. I rated it a 3, actually, because I thought it was decent. Actually, no. Now that I'm thinking about it, I think I gave it a 2.5. So, because that sounds better. But there were a few songs that I actually rated 3s on here and a few stuff that I added to playlists. And I was like, you know what? There's actually a little bit of a vibe here. Now, the problem is some of the songs start to delve into I hate women and all women are bad. And that's where it gets a little bit interesting because he broke up with Tate McRae. I don't know if actually he broke up with her, but they broke up. He cheated on her. So, that's always how it goes.
Does it feel Tate McRae specific?
Not necessarily. It just feels like he's bitter towards a girl that broke his heart, like in general. But it turned out better than I thought because it was better than my expectations because I really didn't have any expectations at all. I was kind of just like, this is a thing that came out, so I guess I'll listen to it. And I did. And it was all right. So, yeah. That's what I listened to this past week. We're starting off the year very slowly with new albums and stuff. But
yeah,
as for the song of the week, Turns Out I'm Amazing. That's what it's called. By Carol Addis. It's spelled Ades. I get why she wouldn't want it to be said as AIDS. But I have seen her live. I don't remember who she opened for, but it was at the Wiltern. I know that. And she's very good. She's a great songwriter. I've known her as a songwriter for longer than she's been an artist. And this was a great song. It's just a lot of fun. And it's like kind of a little bit dance poppy, but it's got a little bit of that like early 2020 style where there's a little bit more anything to it than just kind of like what we're in right now, which is kind of very boring and basic production. So I was actually very surprised by this song. And I liked it. I didn't know it was coming out because Instagram won't show me posts from anyone I follow, and Spotify won't tell me when artists I follow release music. So it's a very good surprise to see that an artist I like and keep tabs with actually released a song that I didn't know about. So that was fun. But now I have to throw it over to our guest of honor. Bekah, what have you watched and or listened to in the past however long you want to talk about?
Well, last night at about midnight to 3 a.m. we watched Being John Malkovich.
Oh.
And that was pretty great. I was not sure what to expect because I knew it was Charlie Kaufman and obviously is very out there scripts, and I liked adaptation. It's definitely a similar vibe.
I love that movie.
I don't know much about John Malkovich. I know he's known for being full of himself, and that was the whole point, wanting to get him for the movie, but he did act very well. I was not expecting to really. It's been on my watch list for like 10 years, and I finally did it.
I feel like we might need to watch that to redeem John Malkovich for Brandon after our experience with Dangerous Liaisons.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was in that. Yeah, I hated that movie.
And you did not like him in it either. So, yeah.
Shout out, I guess.
Shout out.
I guess I didn't ever realize he was a real person because I've heard of that movie. Like people bring it up a lot as like one of the best films and like that was a big deal in film school. I didn't realize like John Malkovich is an actual person. Like I just thought it was like a character in the movie. So that was kind of crazy when we watched Dangerous Liaisons and I was like, oh, that's a guy.
That was a fun experience.
And what have you listened to in the past whenever?
I have not been listening to anything new. I've listened to
That's okay.
one of the same albums, Norman fucking Rockwell.
Oh,
I
great
keep
album.
listening to that front to back just to do anything. I tend to only like the first songs in an album and only listen to those, and then I rediscover the bottom ones, and then I get more obsessed with them and have to re-listen again. So I keep doing that.
I feel like that happens to David sometimes, where he's like, the first few songs are good, and then he starts to get bored of the album, especially in indie music.
That happens a lot.
But yeah, coincidentally, I just listened to Norman fucking Rockwell, the song, for the first time in like years yesterday. And I was like, this is so good. Why did I not listen to this recently?
It is good.
Shout out Lana Del Rey somewhat. I don't know how comfortable I am shouting her out.
A little bit.
A little bit. Yeah, just a little one.
She got bobs.
Yeah, true. She does. I don't know personally what she's like, question for the culture and all. But anyway, that's in the future, because first we have to talk about Bekah's rating system, which I'm sure is the thing that she's most excited to talk about today.
We got to figure out if you have a rating system that makes sense like Brandon's or is just all over the place like mine, pretty much.
I would say I'm very different from both of your rating styles.
Ooh.
Because one, I tend to, I don't like rating. I don't rate on Letterboxd. I don't have Rate Your Music, but I wouldn't rate. It is very hard for me to actually put into numbers what I feel about something, because I think if I relate to it, it's like 5 stars. And because I mostly listen to the lyrics, and sometimes I like how a song sounds, and I can adjust my rating based on that. But I think mostly I just try to vibe. It's very hard for me to, especially with movies too. Because it's also, if they had fun, if the actors had fun, it's 5 stars.
So I'm expecting a lot of 5 stars today.
Yeah.
You can. I tried to tone it down. I tried to really think about what I actually like and not just fun kiki. But hopefully it is quite positive.
I do want to ask you, before we get started on the few notes that I have, do you have a favorite song that you chose? Because I chose a favorite song for you.
I do have a favorite song, and I'm very curious what you think it is. I think I may know your favorite song.
Ooh.
But I can't tell what David's would be.
Literally, I heard this song and I was like, this is David's favorite song immediately. Like it took like 5 seconds and I just,
Okay.
I had a feeling. I don't know if it'll be right, but I don't know. I feel good about that one. I feel better about that one than about yours, Bekah.
Okay.
I feel like you probably will be close, because that's kind of what happened to me, where the moment the song came on, I was like, oh, I think this is my favorite. So you're probably right.
Okay.
If you also guessed it that way. I honestly, first of all, I can totally see like why I chose this movie. Like, this is kind of you coded, Bekah. I have no idea what Brandon's going to think of it, because I don't think we've ever talked about like a black comedy before on the podcast. So I have no idea what he's going to think.
Pretty sure we did.
There's been several black comedy. I think Dante's episode was also a black comedy.
That's true.
A little bit.
But I feel like this is a darker black. Like it's more,
I mean,
I
was going to say the one, I don't remember what it's called now, the one we did with 100 Gex, the British movie that I hated.
Oh, I guess that is kind of a black comedy. But that's a British black comedy. That's different.
Right. British is very different than
That's
American.
very different. Yeah.
But I want to ask some questions before I get into everything here. I'm going to first start with David. Have you heard of Alanis Morissette, and did you know any of her music before this episode?
I've definitely heard of her. I have not heard any of her music, though. I mean, when I say I have not, I mean I haven't consciously. Because, when you're just in the car and it comes on the radio and you're like vibing to it, but you don't know what the song is. I'm sure that has happened, especially because, my parents will listen to radio stations that play stuff like older stuff. And I know a lot of her peak music in terms of like well-known music came out in the 90s. So I could see me having heard a lot of it, honestly, but I never consciously did, at least. So yeah, I was honestly coming into this blind. I had seen Heather's before, though. This was my second time watching it.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And now I want to ask Bekah, how did you discover Alanis Morissette?
I discovered Alanis probably late 2010, so kind of recently, I guess. But it's similarly, the only song I had really heard was Ironic. That was the only song that played on the radio or that I paid attention to. And I think I was in much of a 90s kick at the time. I just wanted to discover every kind of 90s, either grunge or rock or pop. And Alanis kind of stuck with me because her music was so odd in a way that I wasn't expecting. Like her voice, obviously, you either like it or hate it, definitely. And I tend to really like her cadence. I really like her lyrics and how weird they are. The album that I wanted to do with you before was Supposed Former Infatuation Junkie. And I thought that may be too much because there's definitely some songs that are just, they go on and they don't have any rhyme scheme, or she's just kind of listing things or listing X's. But I related to that album so much, and I think that's what made me love her for real. But this album is definitely you got to start with this one if you're going to get into Alanis.
Was this the first album that you heard by her?
This was, yes. It's a bit daunting to go into some of her other collections because she definitely loves to write. She loves to put out tracks and make albums, but this one is very concise and succinct, and I do like that about it. Obviously, there's deluxe versions and added songs, but I do like that this one is easy to listen to.
Yeah, we didn't do the Jimmy the Saint blend of You Oughta Know at the end of this album because it's 8 minutes long, and that's kind of like an extra thing. I didn't even end up listening to it ever.
It is a pretty good song if you do end up listening to it, but yeah.
You kind of answered this already, but it is a two-part question. So I wanted to ask why this album, both in general and then to pair with the movie, because you had always wanted to do this movie.
Yes. Originally, I was thinking that there was no theme. There was no common thread between these two. And I think that's a little true. I realize that they're both stage musicals now. And that's the way I discovered Heathers in around the same time as this album, that Heathers was a musical. And Jagged Little Pill is a musical, but I have not listened to that. And I kind of don't want to.
I did not know that was a musical.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Not gonna lie, I was not expecting that.
It's like Mamma Mia, essentially, but with a bunch of Alanis songs. And Heather's the musical I actually do love, and that's the reason I got into the movie.
Oh, the musical was before the movie.
No.
Well, no, for you.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Initially, I was very scared to watch this movie. Actually,
were you afraid that you were going to fall in love with JD?
Yes.
That's understandable.
I was very scared of school shooters. This was like peak 2018 when like everything was about school shootings, and then I could not sit down and watch this movie.
My mom watched this, and then she said that she went to work the next day and there was a guy who came in with like a trench coat, and she was like, oh my God, it's over. So yeah, this movie didn't affect me as much because I feel like I don't know. I have weirdly never been in a school shooting or in any sort of shooting. I know multiple people who have, but it's just kind of like, I don't know. It's to be expected at this point for me. You know, why worry about it when it's probably going to happen anyway, you know? Unfortunately, that's maybe the most American thing I've said.
He's a school shooter, but he's also Christian Slater. So I'm here for it, you know?
He's a bad boy.
Yeah, doing a little Jack Nicholson impression.
Exactly. Well, actually, I wanted to ask, what made you choose the movie for the podcast too? I know you kind of answered that.
Yeah, I was supposed to talk about how they connected.
Oh, go talk about that first then. Ignore my question.
They both somewhat tackle relationships in the same way. Or similarly, I think there's a similar amount of anger that's present in both. They're both kind of centering on falling for an ideal of someone, kind of a cool guy, and obviously that having drastic implications in the movie, but not so in the album as much. But I do think they pair well together. They both have similar aesthetics in my mind as well.
No, I completely agree. I feel like they fit together very, very well.
I can see that for sure. We have an album to talk about, and that album is Jagged Little Pill, the third album by Alanis Morissette, released June 13th, 1995 by Maverick and Reprise Records. And our only connection this week is actually Maverick, which was a record label started by Madonna. So shout out Madonna.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, this is her third album, but some would view it as her first album because her first two albums were like dance pop music, and this is extremely different, and this is the style that she's like known for. All songs on this album were written by Alanis Morissette and Glenn Ballard. All songs are produced by Glenn Ballard. The album is mixed by Glenn Ballard, Scott Campbell, and Chris Fogel, and it's mastered by Chris Bellman. And Bekah, this is the part where I wanted to ask you, do you have anything else you want to say before we introduce the album and before I tell you and David what your favorite songs are?
I do think it's interesting that she was a child actor in a way. She wasn't as big as other child actors to pop stars, but she definitely was in the teeny bopper type content. She was on Nickelodeon as well.
I did not know this.
I had no idea. That's kind of crazy.
It's quite an interesting switch.
She's also Canadian, so shout out Canada.
I do love Canadians so much.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you listen to the podcast, you know that I tend to like Canadian music more than like other countries.
Yes.
I also feel like a part of you is just like, take me, Canada, please. Take me away from here.
Oh, yeah. Get me out of here. God, the Packers just lost last night. I have nothing tying me to Wisconsin now.
Except for the cheese.
But let's get into this album. And before we do that, I have to tell you, David, your favorite song on here is going to be Perfect. And Bekah, your favorite song is going to be Hand in My Pocket. I don't know how confident I feel about either of these. I feel more confident about David's, but I heard Hand in My Pocket and I was like, I don't know. There's something just very Bekah coded about this song to me. So we'll get into it right now with track number 1, All I Really Want. And Bekah, I want you to start off. Tell us your notes. What do you have to say about this song?
All I Really Want. Initially, I did not like this song. It really turned me off when I heard it. And it started the album, of course. So I was like, I may not enjoy this. But I started to listen to it a lot. And it just obviously grew on me. I think it's catchy. I love the lyrics. I think, why are you so petrified of silence? That's always my favorite part.
That is a great part. Very fun moment.
Her playfulness on every track is great, but especially on this one. I gave this one 4 stars.
Nice.
Because I think there's something that could be improved on it, but I don't know what.
That's fair. I mean, I like keeping a little bit of room to be like, this song just hit me in a different way. So I approve. I'll say that I feel like there's just way more trip hop influence than I expected on this song. I mean, it is the 90s, but it's very much like, I kind of forget how much the 90s were influenced by like the beginnings of electronic music. Bekah, you know that I'm not a huge fan overall of Alanis Morissette, and I'm most of the time it's her vocal choices that I'm kind of like, I don't know.
Yes.
But I will say, this song is not too bad. There's a few vocal choices that I don't like, but overall, I think this is decent. It's a 2.5, and I will tell you right now, I do go higher.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Okay, initially I thought your favorite song would be Hand in My Pocket, but you saying it's mine makes it think that's maybe your least favorite.
I'll tell you that's not how I figured it out for you.
All right.
I phrased it that way on purpose. But anyway, David, what do you think about this song?
That's intriguing. It's very 90s. That's what I just want to say first off. Even if I have heard Alanis Morissette before, I definitely did not pay attention because I didn't remember what her vocal quality was like. But I like it. I think it is very specific and it depends on the style that it's paired with. And I think if it's paired with this, for instance, it does work for me. It's a fun song. To me, it gave party. That might be totally wrong, but that's because I don't listen to lyrics really. So that's probably why. But it's a 3.5. I think this is a really solid start to the album. I don't have much to say, to be honest, but that's a good start for me.
That is a good start. That's better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
I was thinking you wouldn't really like her voice that much.
I think it depends on the song, but like I said, I think with specific styles, it really works for me. So it kind of depends, which I will talk about later. Hint, hint.
I feel like the other thing is a lot of people do like her voice, and I'm generally not one of them. And then I always confuse in my head, like, oh, I feel like other people don't like her voice that much.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm wrong. And I feel like, David, you generally are more along the lines of other people, like you agree with the masses a lot of the time.
I'm a sheep.
And, that's Not in that.
No, but I
mean
kind
it
of
like
am.
that,
So.
but
I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just putting words out of my mouth. So yeah, I'm kind of a sheep.
I was in the majority. Seems like most people don't like her voice. I know I put this on the car with like
Interesting.
every situationship, and they're always like, "Oh, that's interesting," and then we move on.
maybe that's a generational thing too, because I feel like everybody, like my parents' age, loves her, including my parents. As far as I know, at least, I know my dad likes her a lot because he's played her music for me before, and I was like, I don't know.
I honestly don't think my parents have ever mentioned any of her music. I'm gonna have to ask and find out.
Well, we got to talk about track number 2 because you ought to know that's track number 2. And on this song, there's guitar by Dave Navarro from the band Jane's Addiction, and the bass is by Flea from the band Red Hot Chili Peppers. So I thought that was kind of a fun little fact. I have one thing to say about this song, and I'm going to get it out of the way right now. This one is not for me. This is a 2.
Okay, why?
I have never liked this song. I've heard this song before, and it's just one of those ones that just something about it that just doesn't fit right in my brain. That's kind of my thing with a lot of 90s and 2000s rock music, specifically that era. There's just some quality about it. I think it's generally the vocals and I feel like the chord progressions are a little bit more simple than I not necessarily am I used to, because I feel like most of the time they are, but it's just something that it's a little bit too simple for me, that there's not as much to latch onto in a way. This song is like one of her signature hits from the album, and it's just I've never liked this one.
Yeah, I think if you say you like Alanis Morissette, you pretty much are saying that you like ought to know. You ought to know, and I do love it. But I agree with you that there's something about it that makes it kind of hard to scream along to. And that's a bit of the what you need to make it perfect. I put it at 3.5 stars because I do love it, but I think it's the key or something where I think the verses are much easier to sing along to than the chorus.
That's very interesting, because I feel like my favorite song on here is one that I feel like I could scream along to, because I feel like that's kind of part of what I'm missing sometimes. It's just like there's a little bit more energy to it.
I do love the lyrics in this song, though I would never love someone enough to go down on them in a theater.
That's fair.
What was Alanis doing?
I don't know.
About Dave Coulier?
I don't know who that is.
Allegedly. He's Uncle Joey from Full House.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, he went down on someone in the theater?
Alanis did.
And maybe it was him, I guess.
Lyric of the track. Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I think it just doesn't like hit as hard as the last song. That's kind of the best way I can describe it. Something about it just doesn't like catch me, which I know I say quite a lot on the podcast, but that's kind of there. That's just, it is what it is. You can definitely feel the angst though, and I feel like there are other songs in this album that have that same feeling but work more for me.
I agree.
I feel like they're kind of like, in a way, slightly stronger, not iterations, but like a slightly stronger version of You Oughta Know. It's a 3. It's kind of ironic. We all kind of went down by a 0.5 in our score for the song. We're all kind of in agreement, which I don't think has ever happened before.
Yeah, this is actually very interesting.
Maybe that
we're finding out exactly where our like middle is.
This is my go-to karaoke song. I will say that though.
I can see that.
I can see that.
It's perfect for that, I think, in a way. Depends on the room.
Track number 3, Perfect.
David's favorite song, allegedly.
David's favorite song.
Ooh.
And there's a reason I chose this to be David's favorite song. I said, this is the type of ballad where I say, I hate ballads. I expect both of you to like this. This is my least favorite song on here. This is a 1, and I only listened to it once, and I couldn't make it through a second time, unfortunately. My apologies. I just do not like this.
I did expect you to say that. This is 5 stars for me.
Damn.
I did not think I would put that because it's not my favorite ballad of Alanis either. But there's something about it that just works for me. I don't know. I think it's her tone. I think I really like her voice in this one. It's very shaky and I don't know, it just fits what she's saying, and I do love it.
David, is this your favorite?
So, this song feels a bit miscalculated to me. You guys remember I said that depending on the style of the song, I think her voice really fits? This is somewhere where I actually don't think it fits very well.
I can see that.
Whoa.
I honestly think her vocal performance just doesn't fit a ballad that well. I don't hate it. It just doesn't fully come together. It's a 3. And this is not my favorite. My favorite comes quite a bit later, I'll say.
Ironic.
But yeah, I wanted to like this more than I did, sadly. Because you guys know I love ballads, but yeah, it didn't really work for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the reason I chose this is because you love ballads so much. And because I was like, I don't like this at all. It fits perfectly for you.
Yeah, well,
I do want to ask you, Bekah, though, do you find it surprising that David doesn't like this song as much?
I don't find it surprising, actually.
Okay,
I think
interesting.
the ones that you will like are the more poppy ones.
I could see that for sure.
Or, yeah, just easier to listen to, I think. I think her voice kind of suits those better sometimes, but I do like... I think I just like this one because her voice doesn't sound perfect in it, especially in the bridge where she's screaming. She's screaming in that. And I really...
Yeah.
Like, it just sounds like she's breaking, like... You know the song from Rihanna, the one where she's drunk? What is that called?
The one where she's drunk? I don't think I know this lore.
Yeah, she... Wait, it's from Love... it's from Auntie. Higher. Yeah, Higher. You know Higher?
I didn't know she was drunk on that one.
Or
Interesting.
She was apparently drunk in the studio while she was recording it. I just love vocals like that, where it just sounds like you're actually breaking down, and it sounds...
Yeah.
real to the emotion and stuff.
This is one of those songs where I don't like it and I can see why people like it.
Yeah.
You know, like there was that one Prince song, the last song of his album, where I was like, I don't see why anybody likes this because it's so annoying to me. This is one where it's like, it's annoying, but I get why people like it. It's just not my style.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that.
But now it's time for Bekah's favorite song. Track number 4, Hand in My Pocket. Do you want to start it off? Do you want to tell me if this is your favorite song?
This is not my favorite song. However,
God.
It is 5 stars.
Ooh.
Okay, well, that's good. I feel good about that then.
This song is great. I like all of the a bit random connections that she makes with "I'm poor but I'm kind," especially is such an interesting.
I didn't realize that one was one of them.
Just, I don't know. I do love when she lists things. I think just the energy of it. I like how it doesn't rhyme as well for some, or she doesn't connect it where you think it will. I like how this song just reads as optimistic, but obviously it's not. There's a jaded quality to it. Like this sounds like a song my mom would play and kind of listen to unironically, or at least the message would feel unironic. But I don't know. It just really works.
You know what? I agree. This one isn't my favorite, but this is probably my second favorite on the album because I heard this song and I was like, this is actually way better than I remember it being. Mm-hmm. I feel like I've heard this song the most out of any of her songs, and I have learned the name multiple times in my life, and I always forget it and think that this song is ironic, and I like this one more than ironic, though. Mm-hmm. And I have a few interesting notes in here. This song, for some reason, reminds me of Bob Dylan.
I can see that.
Because it's kind of a folk song, and there's a harmonica in it. And that's part of that list quality that you were talking about. Like it doesn't feel like there's really a chorus or anything to it, although there is in a way. It's just melodic. But she's always saying something different the entire song, and it feels more like a stream of consciousness kind of thing. And I think it actually really works. I was not expecting to like this song this much. And I said, Alanis Morissette is probably better than Bob Dylan anyway, so shout out to Canada. Then I also wrote down, Bekah, I chose the song to be your favorite because I have no idea what you'll say or if you'll have a favorite, but this song feels the most like you. So
I'm glad it feels like me, at least.
Yeah, I can just totally see this. So maybe this is the next TikTok that you post, is you make a hand in my pocket style outfit, because I would like to see that. Oh, this is a 2.5, by the way. It's close to a 3, though.
Kind of going off what I was talking about with the last song, The style fits the vocal performance a lot more. And I just really like the instrumentation on this song. It's a 3.5. It really just comes together for me much more than the last song. I also did want to say that I do go higher than a 3.5. I won't say when, but I'll just throw that out there.
It's ironic.
Ironic.
I'm calling that again.
Oh, I thought you were saying that it is ironic, like not that it's that name of the song.
No, I think it's ironic, the song.
Yeah.
And I have that note written down, which I'll read when we get there.
Okay.
But
we'll see.
You'll have to wait for that. That's a little tease for you. Because track number 5 is Right Through You. I'm going to get it out of the way right now. This is a 3. This is my favorite. I really enjoyed this one. I think it has a great chorus. It has some of the best production on the album. And this is the song that I feel like you can scream along to.
Yes.
The most. And this one was actually really good. And I was not expecting to actually actively enjoy listening to one of these songs. So that was pretty good. I'm impressed.
That totally tracks, because the same impression I got from this song is you're in the car, it's 3 a.m., you're with your friends, and you have all the windows rolled down, and you're like singing this as loud as you can. That's the feeling I got from this song. And I feel like a lot of songs like that you really like. So honestly, that makes a lot of sense. And that kind of sums it up. I think this is a really good song. I like how simple it is too. I think it speaks for itself, kind of, versus trying to add in a bunch of extra stuff. And that kind of goes for the album as a whole. I did want to say the Kesha effect was starting to set in right about now. It will be back, but I still enjoyed this. This is 3.5, close to being a 4. This is up there with some of my favorites.
I may change my rating for this one. I have it at 4.5 because this is definitely one of my favorites. I do love screaming it. I think it works more than You Ought to Know, in, like you were saying, for that reason, because I think I also connect more with the lyrics, and I've never felt a breakup in the same way that You Ought to Know it expresses like that type of anger. And I think this is a more universal kind of experience of being belittled or patronized and all that. But this song slaps so hard. I may put it at a 5.
I would support that.
I love her delivery on most of the lyrics in this.
That sounds like a good reason to give it a 5.
I agree.
I'll just make it a 5.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Let's go. It wouldn't be a guest episode without a change
Yes.
to a rating.
Love that. Track number 6, Forgiven.
Okay, this was the song that I instantly connected to and I thought would be my favorite on the album when I first listened to it. I think I wasn't Catholic, but I was Christian, and obviously I felt the same things. And like I said, if I relate to a song, it's 5 stars, so this is 5 stars. But this song was so beautiful to me, and it really got me on. I was on this kick of just like religious tones in music, like Spring Awakening, just this kind of rejection of anything religious or feeling like an outcast in that.
I wrote down Catholicism mention. Unfortunately, this song is not my favorite. And I feel like it is too long and it's a little bit too screamy for me. And it is a 1. It was originally a 1.5, but then it just kept going on. And I was like, I don't know. I can't do it anymore. But
it's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But this one is a 1. David, do you like it more than me? Please tell me you do.
I do. I will say, at this point, the Kesha effect was setting in strong, and I feel like it kind of set a lot of my scores at the same score. But I think that's because it's also just very consistent. It's a very enjoyable consistency. With this song, I specifically like the chorus a lot. I think some of the other parts, like the bridge, don't work as well for me, but that kind of consistency, keeps this at a 3.5. And as we will see, that score will kind of just remain throughout a lot of this. I kind of had the same experience with this album that I have with a lot of indie albums.
I was going to say, we locked into your indie score.
We've locked into my indie score, which, hey, is a pretty good thing. So 3.5. So I do like this more than you, Brandon. I'm kind of in the middle of you two.
Track number 7, You Learn. I recommend walking around naked in your living room. That's what I wrote down.
That is a peak experience.
And I also said Jagged Little Pill mention, of course, because she says it in the song, which personally, I love when there isn't a like title track on an album, but they mention the title of the album in the lyrics. I think that's really fun. Mm-hmm. And then I also said that this is potentially the most of this era song on here. It gets a little bit long, but it's not bad. And I actually kind of like this song. This is a 2.5.
This song was very interesting, especially the vocals, because I feel like the vocals are kind of the most out there with this song. And at one point I was like, this is getting close to like yodeling or something. Like it's a very interesting performance. It's not yodeling for sure. I'm just like, that's the best way I could describe it. It's like a very interesting performance. It's very, very out there, but I like it. And I kind of like I don't know if it's like a swing tempo, but it gives the song a very specific feeling, and honestly kind of broke up the Kesha effect for me. It's still a 3.5, but that's just kind of more on its own merits rather than like, oh wait, I'm starting to confuse these songs together. I just like that, how, I don't know, it feels very unique to me. And I like it for that.
We are in agreement. This is a 3.5 for me.
Nice.
I do love the Jagged Little Pill mention. Especially how it said, what a jagged little pill. I like it in the background like that. And then the chorus, at first I never really got into it. It definitely felt too repetitive in a way, but it is very poppy and I love it. Fun to sing along to.
Track number 8, Head Over Feet. I only wrote one thing about this, so I will get it out of the way real quick. I think you both know how I feel about key changes. This is a 1.5. My apologies.
This is my favorite song on the album.
Oh.
I never would have guessed that.
Really?
No.
It kind of goes against my rating because, like I said, I tend to like songs I relate to, and I don't think I relate to this one very much. Especially the theme kind of feels like an 80s movie in a way. It's like an 80s geeky friend's dream song because it's like, you've already won me over in spite of me. Like, you were a great friend. I should have just picked you. It's an interesting theme, but it works so well for me, and it always has. It does go on very long. Sometimes you think it's going to end and then it doesn't, but it's perfect. You've already won me over in spite of me is probably one of my favorite lyrics on the album.
Hell yeah. Nice. This is a surprise for me. I like this. It's fun to not really know what, because sometimes I'm just like, I know what David's gonna say, but
Yeah.
Both of you have surprised me this album, which is very exciting.
That makes for the most fun episodes, I kind of feel like. So I feel like that's a lot of our guest episodes, not gonna lie. I honestly don't have much to say about this song. I like the verse a lot. I think the choruses were a little bit weaker, but overall, it's a 3.5. I will say the Kesha effect is back, but in this scenario, I'm not mad at it. I'm enjoying it. It definitely is though. Like if I heard this song on the radio, I would be like, okay, wait, which one is it again? But that's not a bad feeling. It's not like, other albums where the Kesha effect has been there and given me like 5 2s in a row or something. This is still 3.5, still really enjoyable. I'm here for it. I'm excited for the next song.
This is very much the indie effect on this one because
that's true.
This is like, I feel like what you say about indie songs where it's like you can't really tell them apart, but they all sound good.
Yeah.
And I feel that way too a lot of the time.
I guess I should say like the indie effect instead of the Kesha effect.
Maybe we should split these out. We have 3 people here, so we can vote if we want to split the Kesha effect and the indie effect, and we won't have to like bring in a third party. I vote yes to splitting them.
I vote yes too.
Yeah, split.
Okay, I mean, we didn't even need a third vote, but it's unanimous. Yeah. How about that? All right, I guess I have some work to do after we're done recording today. I will make the change.
Yeah, it just makes sense.
Also,
I feel like
I love the way she says alarmed. Alarmed. I love her accent. You can always hear her Canadian accent. You can hear every out, every about.
Yes, I agree with that because I feel like she's one of the most Canadian sounding singers that I've heard.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice she didn't go the route that a lot of people do where they, in spite of their natural, way of speaking, will sing quote unquote American, The way like a lot of British singers will do, kind of like, you know, the Beatles or something like that. So I do really like that.
I feel like I say out sometimes too.
You do, yeah.
I don't know. I got a little bit of Canadian influence on my
You
accent.
do feel spiritually Canadian.
Track number 9, Mary Jane. I wrote that I don't really feel much with this one. This is kind of a Kesha effect song for me. But for some reason, this song feels more like a classic rock song than a 90s rock song. I don't know why. It just feels more like rooted in like the 60s or 70s kind of style of rock than the 90s style of rock that she does elsewhere on the album. It's all right, but I ultimately don't really like it that much, so it is a 1.5.
I think this song is very pretty. I think I do kind of connect to it in a way, but it is, I agree, it's always been a bit of a filler track for me. I rated it a 3, though. I still really enjoy it.
That's interesting because
This is your favorite?
this song is still 3.5. It's not my favorite, but it's up there. It definitely feels very 70s to me. 70s rock. But I mean, everyone knows that I like that. I think that she gives a very powerful vocal performance in this specific song, and I'm here for it. I don't know, it works. It feels very different, but it's kind of a similar scenario to You Learn, where it's a different style, but it's still 3.5 because, you know, I'm still here for it. I'm still enjoying it. I like this song. I would definitely have guessed that both of you would have liked this song less, like you did, just based off what I know you guys like.
Interesting. Well, now it's time for track number 10, Ironic. I'm going to say one note, which is this could be David's favorite song based on title only. And I'm actually going to throw it over to David right away. Is this your favorite song?
You know what's ironic?
Yeah, I do.
I'm not going to beat around the bush. This is my favorite song. I like the quiet opening, but when the beat drops, that's when the song got me. It's so good. It's just so powerful. I love it. I also feel like we haven't really had a lot of songs like this, because you typically find this with older songs when you have the big beat drop and it like gets you going with the rhythm. So that's something I love in songs, and it really worked for me here. Like in general, the production is so good, and that particularly extends to the choruses. This is a very high 4. I could see this in the future going up to 4.5. It's a 4 right now, but it made it into my rock playlist.
Nice.
Although I should make a separate playlist for like 90s, you know, alt rock, stuff like that. I'm going to re-listen to this song for sure.
I wrote down, after the least 90s rock song on the album, we have the most 90s rock song on the album.
Yeah.
And
Literally.
I rated this a 2.5. I'll get that out of the way. I feel like this is decent. It's all right. Like, this is a solid example of a 90s rock song. And now, Bekah, I want your opinion on this note that I wrote. I could not tell you why, but for some reason, this song reminds me of Friends, the TV show. Do you have any idea why that is?
For one, I haven't seen Friends. Obviously, I know it. I mean, It does seem like...
Whoa.
Yeah,
I figured you would have. That's crazy. That seems like something you would watch.
I could see it. It kind of feels like the clap, clap, clap. Do you think her making most of the lyrics not actual ironies was her being ironic?
I don't know. Maybe.
People say that, and I think she just
I could see that.
said things that were funny. I don't think she actually thought about the meaning of irony like that.
I mean, I could see either, but I would give her more leeway and say that she was trying to make the overall like feel of the song ironic by not having a lot of irony in it.
Mm-hmm. I put this at 3.5 stars.
Whoa.
Because this used to be one of my favorite songs, and it still kind of is in a way. Like, I always love listening to it. I think I just like a lot of the songs more on the album.
Interesting.
This song has great vocals, though. I really love her delivery.
I agree. I think that's one of the best parts of the song.
I will say I never expected to score something higher than Bekah. Surprised.
That's impressive.
It could go up any day.
Good point.
Maybe it'll go up right now. Do we convince you to raise the
Maybe.
score again?
For me, it's going to stay at a 4. Is it going to go up for you, Bekah?
I'm gonna make it a 4. You know,
Nice.
Hey, we agree on another song.
Track number 11, Not the Doctor.
this was another song that was never much on my radar because, again, I kind of liked the earlier songs more. I watched an interview of Olivia Rodrigo where she said that this was her favorite song on the album. And I was like, really? And then I listened to it again, and then I was like, oh, this slaps. This does slap.
Ooh.
It is 4.5 stars.
Shout out Olivia Rodrigo. I think that might be the first time we've mentioned her on the podcast
Yes.
somehow.
That's surprising.
It is surprising. I mean, she hasn't released music in a few years, though. She's going to soon,
That's
it sounds
true.
like. So then we will be talking about her.
I think the last thing she did was for that Hunger Games movie or something like that, right? Like it's
That
been a
sounds
long time.
right. That was a good song, too.
Yes.
That was a good song. Yeah, ironically, not to keep using the word ironic,
It's your word.
it's my word. That's very true. Ironically, I feel like ironic, there we go, 2 times in one sentence, kind of it was the high point of the album for me because, not to ruin it, but the last 2 songs I am honestly very on. I like the acoustic work in this, but the melody doesn't do much for me. It's a 3. I feel like, honestly, they should have just ended the album on ironic, but
That would have been a good ending.
honestly, yeah, I think that would have been a great ending. I do wonder if ironic like broke up the Kesha effect for me, and if it hadn't, these would be 3.5s, but it's a 3 for me as it stands right now. So
David, I will tell you one thing. I feel like I agree with you as well. These last 2 songs,
okay.
I feel like just don't hit the same as a lot of the other ones. And I feel like after Ironic, it's just like, it's not as interesting to me. So I feel like Ironic should have probably been the last song. Maybe this is a track listing thing. You know, we haven't talked about that in a while, but sometimes
that's true.
having songs in different places on the album just makes them stand out more. But I don't know. I gave this song a 2. I said it's a fine song, but I am getting Kesha effect here. The thing that keeps my interest is some of the songs aren't as good as the others, and that makes me like snap out of it. And I'm like, oh, I don't really like this as much as some of the other songs, where otherwise Kesha effect for me was kind of locked in at like 2 on this album. I did write one other thing. I've listened to the song multiple times, and for some reason I can't listen to it without going on my phone partway through it. It's just like, I don't know. It didn't happen with any of the other songs, but this was always the song where after Ironic, I was like, oh, I should probably check like what's going on Instagram right now. But I don't know. It was fine. It wasn't like super memorable for me, but that's interesting. Maybe I have to give it a Olivia Rodrigo listen again.
I think it's just a very interesting melody. Like the pedestals I am afraid of heights. She just does such weird things on this song. And I think the lyrics are very interesting. She talks a lot about not wanting to be patronized, I guess. And this is kind of one of them.
Yeah, that is kind of a theme of the album. To me, this whole album, and correct me if I'm wrong, feels like she was like, fuck you, record companies. I'm going to do what I want as a musician. Like, to me, a lot of the breakup and like anger just feels so much more like related to music industry stuff than like specific relationships. But I don't know.
Did she release this independently?
No, this was Madonna's record label, Maverick.
Oh, wait, that's right. I forgot.
Same, I think actually not the same one as her first 2 albums. I feel like her first 2 albums were a different label, but I don't know for sure.
From what I've seen, I think she had a lot of support for this album, which is a bit surprising because it was such a drastic switch from her more popular things before. So it is interesting that even though it feels like she's rebelling, and she obviously had to in some regard, but it was met with a lot of initial support.
I agree with that. I feel like maybe whoever it was at Maverick that was her A&R was just like, I believe in this, and like was able to kind of secure stuff for her, because I feel like this, to me, this album feels more like a response to her first 2 albums, where it's like, this isn't what she wanted to do necessarily, and it's kind of what she had to do. And now this is what she actually wants to do. And she has an opportunity to be angry, but then she also gets the support, which is kind of nice. But we have one final track on here that we're going to talk about, which is number 12, Wake Up. And I'll start it off. I said sorry, but this is kind of just a whimper of a last song. It doesn't do anything for me. And if I was re-listening to the album, I would probably just end at ironic. Also, this song is too long. This is a 1.5, unfortunately.
I agree with a lot of that. I don't like hate it. It just kind of like, it's okay. It feels kind of more muted and formless compared to a lot of the other songs, if that makes any sense. It's a 3, and I think it's kind of a weird song to decide to end on. They should have just ended with ironic. So, yeah.
I agree with you. I put it as a 2.
Oh, wow.
Because this is actually the lowest rated song on there, because I think it's actually a very pretty song, and I do like listening to it every time I do. However, when I was going through, before I re-listened to the album, I just did a quick rating of what I assumed I would put. And then for this one, I just put a 3 because I was like, I didn't even remember how it went. I have listened to this album so many times, and I never remember how it sounds. And then I listened to it again, and it is nice, but it doesn't hit the same way. And I do think ironic probably would have been a better closer, or maybe any other song on there. But yeah, it's yeah.
So that brings us to the end of the album, where we give our overall scores. And Bekah, I want to ask you, who would you like to hear from first, or would you like to do your own first?
I'll just do my own first, because I think it's pretty obvious. This is a 5. I'm a very high rater. It's one of my favorite albums. It's a 5. But I want to hear yours, Brandon.
Okay, so
I know it's going to be a bit low.
Well, this is interesting because my ratings would suggest that this is a 2. But overall, I feel like this is actually a more enjoyable listening experience as an album than like a collection of songs. So I actually made this a 2.5. I didn't hate this as much as I thought I would. This is my average score, and I feel like this is all right. Like, there's some moments on here that I really liked. There's a few that I really did not. And to me, that kind of leaves it at a 2.5. I feel like overall, my scores were kind of low because this isn't my style. Like we talked about with System of a Down a few weeks ago. It's just kind of like, ultimately, that's not like what I'm going to choose to listen to all the time. It doesn't mean that it isn't good. So that's kind of how I feel about this. But I will tell you that this is higher than I was expecting. And I actually actively enjoyed listening to one of these songs, which I did not think after knowing what I know about her music. And you were also worried that I wouldn't like any of it, which I have said before, that's fine. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I think.
Yeah.
This is your episode. And yeah, so this is a 2.5. I'm exactly half of your score, but you know, it was better than I expected.
Yeah, I think it's kind of obvious what my score is going to be based off the score I gave the most. It's a 3.5. And yeah, I honestly had no idea what to expect. I'd never heard any of Alanis Morissette's music before, but I like it. It's definitely the type of music where I'm not going to put it on every day. If it comes on the radio, I'll listen to it. But there are songs like Ironic that I'm going to be putting on for sure because they just really worked. I wasn't surprised because I didn't know what to expect. I was just, I don't even know what I was, but I liked it. It was very enjoyable. I enjoyed listening to it.
Nice. Well, that about wraps up the album, unless you have anything else left to say, Bekah.
Do you think you would listen to another Alanis album?
I am much more open to it than I was before.
I am very open to it. I'm intrigued.
I feel like I would want you to pick it because I also worry that like she's released albums recently, and I always worry that like I guess people who are legacy acts at this point kind of just get locked into making the same type of music for the rest of their life, and that's why they kind of become legacy acts because they're kind of a one-trick pony. But so I'd be more interested in listening to her older stuff than the newer stuff, but I think I have the ability to like more songs by her for sure, which I wouldn't have said before I listened to this album.
I think like if you want the older stuff, definitely listening to the MTV Unplugged album and maybe supposed former infatuation junkie, if you can get through it. I love it so much.
I mean, maybe that'll be your next episode.
That's a good point.
Maybe. I think you will like some songs on there a lot, and others not at all. But
Okay.
I am honestly very interested to hear her more pop forward albums because I'm just intrigued to hear what that would sound like. Because I feel like that's something that I can't really like make in my head.
Nice. Well, I think that was a successful album. And now we have to talk about a not so successful movie at the box office, which is Heathers.
That's right. I wanted to ask, I know we kind of touched on this, but if you want to just quickly tell us why you were drawn to this specific movie for the podcast or in general.
when people ask my favorite movie, and it happens all the time when you go to film school, obviously,
Oh, yeah.
I would always say,
Oh, yeah.
I would always say Election or Heathers, and they're both dark comedies, and I always liked writing dark comedies. I think sometimes you can get away with, it not being funny, like, or at least laugh out loud funny. You could just say like, oh, the concept of that is funny, and that's what makes it a dark comedy. But I do enjoy them, and I think Heathers is such an early one. I loved the costumes. I think the costume design is obviously talked about a lot in relation to the musical, but the way that they sorted colors to all the Heathers, I think, makes it such a colorful film and iconic, and I think that's why it has a cult status. But I picked it because I liked it, and I thought you would find it interesting, at least.
Well, I think that's the best reason to pick it. I am very, very intrigued to hear what Brandon thinks. So
I'm scared because
intrigued.
you said that you may like this one, and I thought maybe not. I think you I thought you may have been a bit bored with the tone of it. It was a 50-50 in my mind, where you either like the dryness of it or you didn't.
Interesting. I feel like we have a lot to talk about this movie.
I am also just going to say I have no freaking idea what Brandon's going to think of this movie. I'm just throwing it out there. I have no idea.
That's how I like it.
Like, I genuinely don't know. So, yeah. Before we jump in, I'm going to throw the IMDb logline at you too, because I want to know what you guys think. Although I'm going to just say, before I even say it, I think this is the best logline I've heard yet.
Okay.
So here it goes. At Westerberg High, where cliques rule, jocks dominate, and all the popular girls are named Heather, it's going to take a Veronica and mysterious new kid to give teen angst a body count.
Okay, yeah.
Hot take. I'm not that impressed by it.
You don't like it?
It's fine. I don't know.
I think it perfectly tells you, like, I just very fun. I like it a lot. I think it tells you the tone, kind of.
I feel like it's a little too fun.
Maybe
Yeah,
just
that's
me.
what I was thinking.
I don't know. It's a little too cute, in my opinion, of like, look, we used one of the iconic lines from the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It feels a bit more like a Mean Girls style campy to it, when I think it's definitely a drier.
I guess I'm the only one. What can I say?
That's all right.
It is drier, but I feel like, I don't know, it gives me a good vibe. Anyways. I should have waited till the end to say I liked it. Anyways, let me get through the credits, and then we'll jump into a little bit of background. I don't have too much. The film is directed by Michael Lehmann, or Lehmann, Lehmann. Apologies. Don't know how to pronounce that. It's produced by Denise Dinovi, written by Daniel Waters. The cinematography, I finally can say that word, is by Francis Kenny. It's edited by Norman Hollin, Hollyn. Apologies again. And the music is composed by David Newman. It was distributed by New World Pictures and stars Winona Ryder, Christian Slater, Shannon Doherty, amongst many others, let's just say. But we're going to start with the writer, Daniel Waters, because he got the idea for the film out of an interest to write a movie that could kind of act as a counterpoint to the more typical positive teen comedies of the 80s. So he wanted something a little bit darker. So he started to write it. He was working at the video store at the same time. So very Tarantino-esque. And he specifically wanted Stanley Kubrick to direct the film. A, because he was a fan, and B, because he was specifically a fan of Kubrick's own dark comedy, Dr. Strangelove. And last of all, because he thought that Kubrick could pull off, or was one of the few people who would be allowed to make a super long movie. It seems like the script might have been long at that point. I'm not 100% sure. In any case, he wasn't able to get it to Kubrick, or Kubrick said no. But he did bring it to Michael Lehmann, who agreed to direct the film. And so it was set up at New World Pictures. But they demanded a change with the script because in the original script, it ended differently. In the original script, it ends with Veronica shooting and killing JD, then strapping the bomb to herself and blowing up the school.
Whoa.
The movie ends with a prom in heaven where everyone is finally getting along after they're dead. So yeah, executives were like, no, we're not doing that. Change it. So they obviously changed it to what it would be in the film.
I would like to say that I feel like a lot of times writers don't want executives to tell them things because the executives are stupid and annoying, which is true.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I hear things like this and it's like, thank God that there were executives because that's a terrible end to this film. Like, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Why would you ever think to do that?
It really depends on the situation.
It does just seem being dark for the sake of being dark. There would be no point in theme for them to do that.
I agree.
Well,
yeah.
It's also like you spend like the last half of the movie having Veronica say, no, I'm not going to do this with JD. And then it's like, why does she just decide, you know what, I'm just going to bomb the school myself at the end? Like, what? Like, why would she even kill JD?
Take
then?
matters into
Like,
my own hands.
Yeah. It doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know what they were going for with that original ending. I'm happy they changed it because it makes a lot more sense. That was not the only issue they had. Another issue they had was that everyone they approached to be in this thing was like, hell no, because of its subject matter, because it was so dark. Except for Winona Ryder, because she was like, you know what? I really, really, really want to be in this movie. She was 16, and she begged Waters to cast her in it, even offering to do it for free. That's how much she wanted to be in this movie. But Waters believed she wasn't pretty enough for this film.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
He wanted Jennifer Connelly.
He wanted Jennifer Connelly, who turned
I don't know who that is.
them
I'm
down.
sorry.
Well, when we watch more like 90s movies, you'll know who she is, and more 2000s movies.
Yeah, she's pretty.
Is she blonde?
She's not.
She's similar to Winona.
Honestly,
say.
yes.
Interesting.
They're very similar when it comes, like a lot of similar characteristics. But Ryder has said that she thinks that the reason why was because of Beetlejuice. And I actually have a quote where she said, quote, "At the time, I didn't look that different from my character in Beetlejuice. I was very pale. I had blue-black dyed hair. I went to Macy's at the Beverly Center and had them do a makeover on me," end quote. And after that, she got cast. So it worked. Her agent did not want her to be in this, though. She literally got on her hands and knees and like begged Ryder not to do this film. But she still decided to do it. Happily, I should say. I'm happy that she decided to do it. Shannon Doherty also wanted to be cast in the role of Veronica. She was 17 at the time. But obviously, once Ryder was cast, that was out. And they offered her a chance to audition for the role of Heather Chandler. But she actually decided to go for the role of Heather Duke because she thought it was more interesting. And she gave an amazing read. And so she was cast right away. And she actually refused to dye her hair blonde because they wanted her to dye it blonde to fit in with the other Heathers. And she was like, no, I want to keep my red hair. And that's why she has her red hair in the film, which honestly kind of works. It kind of makes her stand out, especially when she becomes the new...
It kind of keeps with the Mean Girl theme.
Yeah, honestly,
the trope of having two blondes and then a ethnically ambiguous one sometimes.
Yeah, it works. Kim Walker was dating Christian Slater, ironically, when she was offered the role of Heather Chandler after actress Heather Graham turned it down. A lot of Heathers going around.
Yes.
Lisanne Falk, meanwhile, lied about being a teenager to get the role of the last Heather. She was actually 23.
I could tell.
You could tell, yeah.
I'm sorry, but when you look at the actual teenagers and it's like that is a fully grown adult, it's kind of weird.
I gotta say, props to them for actually casting real teenagers for the rest of the cast. Unlike a lot of movies that just would not, and you have like 25-year-olds acting as teenagers. This happens today still. So props to them at least for doing it for most of the cast.
I think it's fine though.
Yeah. No, it doesn't take me out of it. We gotta talk about Brad Pitt. Because he auditioned for JD and was rejected. Christian Slater came into audition and reportedly threw a tantrum and tossed away a script into the trash after assuming that he bombed it, and then was quickly cast as JD.
I don't know if Brad Pitt would have worked.
I agree. I
would not
I
have
don't
worked.
think I could see it.
He does have like a pretty boy type of look that I don't think was right. Like Christian Slater's a little weird looking, which kind of helps with it.
He has this sinister like vibe to him while still looking very hot. So it kind of works perfectly, I feel like, you know?
He is literally like the hot school shooter type that everybody loved in high
Yeah,
school. I don't know
literally.
if you guys experienced this too, but there was always this one guy who like had problems with the law and everybody was like, oh my God, he's so hot because he's so dangerous. Because someone's dangerous does not make them hot. It actually makes them like scary to be around, in my opinion.
I mean, honestly, I kind of get it with Christian Slater, like 90s Christian Slater. I get it. Anyways, principal photography. That's my segue. It lasted for 33 days, which is honestly kind of short. But they filmed in the summer of 1988 on a budget of $3 million. And it was filmed in Los Angeles, not Ohio. Could you guys tell at all?
I was going to ask if it was LA and where it was in LA because I just had that feeling, although sometimes it didn't really look super LA.
But I feel like it still gave that vibe.
Oh, for sure.
I do have a list of some schools that they shot at. Corvallis High School, now called Bridges Academy, in Studio City, which is a school that I pass by on the way to work every day.
Doxing.
Yeah, literally. I did research there for this. No, I'm kidding. I did not, I promise. Verdugo Hills High in Tahunga. John Adams Middle School in Santa Monica. And those are the main three that they shot at. They also used the Church of the Angels in Pasadena for the funeral scenes, which they also incidentally used for Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Just Married. Everything seemed to go smoothly, aside from one little hiccup, and that surrounded the swearing, because Shannon Doherty objected to it and outright refused to say a lot of the more explicit lines in the script. Which is kind of crazy considering that she's still like pulling out words like dick and stuff like that all over the place. Like, I'm kind of wondering, like, were they more explicit than they are in the actual film? Like, how far did they go? But that did prompt Lehmann to call her a bit of a handful.
She's always gotten that reputation, unfortunately.
Well, and I actually have a quote from Lisanne Falk talking about that, where she said that Doherty, quote, didn't have much of a sense of humor, and she took herself a little seriously, unquote. So, yeah, it tracks. And actually, reportedly, it seems like Doherty didn't even really understand what type of film they were in. It seems like she thought it was more of a straight drama about like the horrors of teen suicide and people getting killed. And reportedly, she ran out crying from the first screening of the film when she realized that it was actually a dark comedy, which is kind of crazy. Like, how do you not get that from the script?
I've heard this and it feels very much like a comedy. It feels there's no way you can mistake, especially her lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. Like, she has some of the most outrageous lines. Maybe this is like false reporting. I'm just going to throw that out there in case it is. But if it's true, it is kind of crazy.
Yet we're reporting it like it's true. Wow. Are we just part of the media machine?
That's why I put that at the end, to just be like, okay, I'm saying this, but maybe. And that's kind of the end of my notes. I'm going to just talk quickly about the release. It came out 1989, and as Brandon mentioned, it bombed. It made $1 million on its budget of $3 million. It did receive generally positive reviews, although some kind of criticized elements of it. That being said, none of that really mattered, because this movie, of course, would go on to become a cult classic on home video, and is now beloved. It's considered one of the best coming-of-age films and one of the best comedies or dark comedies ever made. It's also kind of entered the club of movies that focused on the culture war, 80s depictions of youth, particularly teenagers, as well as actually added a lot of idioms and slang to the way that we speak, including some, I think, slang terms that are literally in the dictionary or something like that. So it definitely informed the way we speak to a very large level, for lack of a better way of saying that.
I know the screenwriter didn't want to write 80s slang to not make it dated, so he had to make up his own.
I was wondering why it was like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
He literally made up his own and just made it actual slang, which is kind of crazy. Like, I could not do that.
What's your damage?
Yeah, this movie is very.
It's very. I'm trying to remember the line that Shannon Doherty says about something about a dick, but I can't remember. So anyways.
Oh, you're pulling my dick?
There we go. That's what it was. That probably was actual slang or similar to it, but just a fun line. That's the one that stood out to me the most. I just go towards the penile shaped lines. Anyways.
Yeah, you do.
Yes.
I do want to say, before we move on from this, since we're talking about lines, I want to say two of them. Fuck me gently with a chainsaw. People used to say that when I was in high school. I had no idea it was from this movie.
Really?
Yes. I had multiple friends that said that. And
yeah.
I mean, obviously I know nothing about movies, so it completely went over my head. And then the other one is Dear Diary, my teen angst bullshit now has a body count. I've also, that was like a thing when I was in high school. I mean, we're all the same age, but I mean, I'm from a different area of the country, and things move a little bit slower out here in the Midwest.
Well, and you're closer to where this is supposed to be set.
Yes, exactly. So, I don't know. I feel like as a representation of Ohio and of the Midwest in general, it does a very bad job of that, but that is okay. That doesn't necessarily take away from anything else in the film other than it's...
What about it, do you think?
It feels like it's LA.
Yeah.
Like everything about the movie just feels like it's LA, and it's the LA depiction of Mean Girls and not the Midwest depiction of Mean Girls.
That honestly kind of tracks. I can see that.
Do we know where Michael Lehmann, or the writer David, whatever his name is from?
He's from Ohio, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That surprises me. Maybe Ohio's very different than the rest of the Midwest.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, Ohio sucks too as a state, and I don't claim it as part of the Midwest because who the hell wants to go there?
Yeah, literally.
Sorry. My apologies. I think everybody knows that, though. Ohio's second worst after Indiana, of course.
I will say, this movie was a very good choice for Winona Ryder. In many ways, it was instrumental in making her a star in the 90s. Kind of this together with Beetlejuice shot her up. And she, of course, continued that trajectory with movies like Edward Scissorhands, Bram Stoker's Dracula, and many, many more. She, of course, did kind of have a career lull in the 2000s, particularly tied around her shoplifting. But, of course, she has made a comeback with Stranger Things. And Christian Slater also kind of got brought to the forefront by this film, and he went on to make a lot of big hits in the 90s, movies like True Romance. Although his career also seems to kind of die down in the 2000s until he played the titular character in Mr. Robot. So ironically, both of them kind of had lulls before having their careers kind of revived a little bit by TV shows. But my last little note is actually something that has been brought up before. It did get turned into a musical that I believe was a hit.
It was only off Broadway, though.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
And in the West End.
I didn't realize. I thought it was on Broadway.
It never reached Broadway.
It got close, let's say. And there have been talks of a sequel. Winona Ryder really, really wants to make a sequel of this film. But as of 2024, there's nothing. There's no new news. I believe it would follow her like getting into a high position and being like the president's advisor, but then killing the president because they're a bad person or something. I've heard that's what it would be about, but I'm not 100% sure.
Heathers does not need a sequel.
Yeah.
This movie is about being young and being a teen. And
yeah, I don't think it needs one either. I I get her trying to push for it because she loves the first one, but it honestly doesn't need a sequel.
And now's the time to do it since she's unemployed after Stranger Things.
Yeah, literally. Until she finds the next Stranger Things.
Yeah, that's easy to say.
Literally.
The next Stranger Things. I wonder what Netflix has been trying to do for the past 10 years.
Yeah. I wonder. I don't have any other questions, but I was wondering if there was anything you wanted to talk about first when discussing this film, Bekah.
Okay, first I just have one thing. I think it's also interesting that Winona has been in 3 projects that are now musicals or on Broadway. She had the Heathers, the musical, that's Beetlejuice, the musical, and then Stranger Things. Is that a musical? I know it's on Broadway.
I don't know. It's something on Broadway.
That's a good point. I did not realize that.
And I think she has like such an aesthetic to all of her projects, or her biggest ones. But for the movie, I'm very interested in what you guys have to say, to be honest. I think you know what the general gist of what I like, but I want to know if the dryness worked for you.
I mean, I'll start off by saying the first thing I thought, which is, what is the tone of this movie? Essentially, until the killing, and then you start to realize, oh, it's a dark comedy. I feel like the first act, I would probably say, feels kind of like flat, and like you were saying, dry. It's just kind of like strange, and I didn't really get what they were going for. But now that I know what they were going for, I feel like I do appreciate it more, and upon a rewatch, I would like it more. I just felt like it was kind of strange, and it almost like, correct me if I'm wrong here, it almost feels low budget, and I couldn't tell if it was on purpose or not, because I knew this movie like was a bomb, but I knew it had like a sizable budget, like so I don't know, it's just kind of a weird feeling. And then after a while you start to get the idea that, oh yeah, it is on purpose, but I don't know, there's still a few like choices that I don't know that I would have made when like establishing the tone of the film.
It does feel low budget, and it's interesting that I say I like the costumes. It's interesting that they have such a good design of the film, like production wise and costume wise. I think it's kind of great that it seems low budget in tone, but they were able to create the character so well that it's kind of lasting to today.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like my big complaint with that was the directing. I felt like it was just like strange, and it kind of felt like for a while it felt like the director didn't really know what he was doing. Mm-hmm. And then it like started to gel together, and I was like, okay, I get it now. Like I see what they're doing, but there was something just about the first act that didn't feel like it fully came together for me. But I don't know, it's such a unique movie that I really don't even know how to like criticize it necessarily, because I don't know like what they were going for, or if this is exactly how they wanted us to feel when watching it. You know, like maybe
it kind of reminds me of like your first time watching what's his name? Oh gosh, the Beetlejuice director, Tim Burton. I feel like it kind of feels similar to that, where it feels low budget, even though it typically isn't. But the style is very specific and well done, especially when it comes to like the design. And in a lot of ways, this film reminds me of something like Beetlejuice. Even though I feel like Beetlejuice is maybe like a dark comedy that's slightly more accessible. That being said, so I've seen this twice, and I enjoyed it both times. I liked this movie the first time I saw it. I was definitely confused going into it because I did not know what to expect. I thought it was I didn't know anything about this movie, and I thought it was a much more typical coming of age, just high school movie. So then when they started killing people, I was like, oh, okay, so this is a dark comedy. This is not what I thought it was. But I do think it does work. It's very specific, and it's definitely a movie that not everyone is going to love. Particularly, like I feel like people that were in their 30s or 40s when this came out probably would have been like, what the hell is this? I don't understand it. But I could see why this would appeal to so many people our age specifically. Not just because of the style, but also because I think the content like is very prescient kind of at all times to teenagers for the last like 30, 40 years. And it certainly works for me because I've always enjoyed this film. But I think because it is so specific, that's why I was kind of wondering what Brandon would think, because I was like, I have no idea. I also want to say, Winona Ryder and Christian Slater make it for me. I think if they hadn't worked in the film, then it wouldn't have worked.
There's such a nonchalance to the whole movie, which is so interesting, especially with the subject matters and what they're dealing with. It's like even at the first murder of Heather, it's just they're not concerned about that at all. There's no like tension kind of placed with that. It's pretty much just fixed quickly as well.
I think that's why it works too. Like in a way, it makes it fun because you don't think about like, oh damn, these people are dying. And of course it helps that they're terrible people, but you know, it just makes it honestly so much fun to where you're kind of like, oh, okay, how are they going to do the next one? And I feel like that's a large reason of why it works, even though you know in your head, yeah, that's wrong. Also, I did want to say, after seeing this movie, I get the Christian like Slater, like, you know, I get it. He was everywhere. He was one of the biggest like young actors. He was like the Timmy of that age, you know? So I understand after seeing this film. I feel like you see it the most here, honestly.
That's very interesting. I honestly didn't really care for his performance.
Really?
And that was the unpopular opinion because I watched this with my parents. Both of them have never seen it and wanted to watch it. And I didn't like him. I thought Winona Ryder was way better. I think, I don't know, as a character, he's somewhat interesting. I don't know. Some of his delivery was just kind of like weird and kind of felt like he was acting to me. But that's just kind of my take on it, I guess.
It kind of felt accurate to how I would imagine a guy like that would be.
That is,
I think that's why it kind of worked for me, where they're kind of acting cooler than they are, or just what they imagine a cool person sounds like.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I feel like in some ways it reminded me of the guys that were similar to that in my high school. You know, like it made me think of those type of guys that would always walk with a trench coat and like
the school shooter types.
Yeah, pretty much. Like it feels very true to life to the school shooter types I remember from my high school. So I think that's why it works so well. And I will say a part of it is just him. Like he definitely brings this very weird vibe to every role that he's in, at least that I've seen. But so far, it has worked in everything that I have seen him in. But I feel like it does fit the most here. I do agree, though, that like Winona Ryder is a standout in this film. She is so good. I think this might be her best performance out of everything I've seen.
Yeah, you've clearly not seen Stranger Things then, because she is absolutely incredible in season 1 specifically. Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I will not watch it. I don't care.
She's an all-time actor. Like that's an all-time performance in a TV show, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I did want to ask something. And I don't know, should I just tell you my score right now and then we can talk more about it? Because I feel like this is kind of the hard part for me because I don't really know what I feel after watching this movie. And I don't really know what I'm supposed to feel, but I know I'm not feeling that. I'm feeling, and this is going to be kind of come out of left field. When I finished this movie, I was like, I had one reaction in mind. I was like, this reminds me. I had the same reaction to watching this other movie, and that movie was Halloween. I don't know why. So this is a 2.5, same score. I just finished both of them, and I was kind of like, what am I supposed to do like with what I just watched? I don't really know. Like, what do I feel? And I think part of this is I think there's a great story here, but I feel like it's being like there's something else going on that's just kind of like hiding that story. And I wonder if the end like is still a problem for me, because I don't think the original ending was the answer at all. Yeah. I think this ending works a little bit better, but it still feels like at the end I wonder like what am I supposed to get from that? Like there's just bad people in the world. Yeah, okay, that's fine. But there isn't like, also for being a black comedy, there isn't a like big comedic moment at the end. And that's kind of where what you said, Bekah, was kind of like, I don't know, is interesting, where it's like you write black comedy because it's not funny. Like,
Yeah.
but that's kind of the part where there are a lot of great lines in this movie. I laughed out loud many times in this movie because there's just some insane things that
I
they
like to
say.
suck big dicks.
Yeah, there's great moments. I think a lot of the like deliveries of lines are very funny. But I think overall, the big thing about like comedy movies, for me at least, is there isn't that set piece that is like the big comedic moment in here. It's just kind of like shifts into like a big dark moment where it's like, oh my God, is he going to kill everybody?
That's true.
And that's where I kind of wonder, like, if that's kind of what's holding me back from really liking this. I don't know how to feel, essentially, I guess is what I think. So yeah, this one's a 2.5, and I'd like to hear, I guess, kind of what I'm missing, or if there's a reason that you guys can figure out why this didn't work for me that I haven't been able to figure out.
I do agree that there's not a lot of actual commentary, I think. It's just they're kind of just presenting things that happen and saying like, well, that kind of sucks. Like life is just kind of like that.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the tone of that they're doing. And
Yeah.
I can see that not working. I think I just like how bleak it is in a way. Or just how, but still campy and just...
It is very unique. Like, I'll give it that. Like, I don't think I've seen a movie with this type of tone before, or attitude towards its subjects.
I feel like in some ways it almost feels like what teenagers do, where what the movie does is similar to what teenagers do, where they like try and find meaning and stuff, but most of it is just life. So it's just stuff. And some of it is kind of crazy and like murders, but then a lot of it is funny. I don't know. That's kind of the impression I always got, is just like life from the view of a teenager in a way. I don't know if that makes you like it more or less or anything like that, but
I think that explanation, I liked Bekah's explanation better. I'll say
that makes sense.
David, your explanation for some reason just made me think like, well, I would have written this differently.
Yeah.
Bekah's I get a little bit more, where it's just like, it is just kind of like shit happens and it's bad, and overall it's bad.
Which honestly is kind of just life.
I mean, yeah, that's true. Maybe I want my nice little Hollywood ending. I don't know. I did also write down one quote from the movie that I didn't say yet, which is whether to kill yourself or not is one of the most important decisions a teenager can make. That's an all-time line. Probably one of my favorite lines we've had watched on a movie in this podcast. That's amazing. And then I also had, my son's a homosexual and I love him. I love my dead gay son. That's also great. And the delivery on that is incredible.
I think that's my favorite scene, to be honest.
I don't know. This is just such a unique movie and it's so quotable.
Yes.
Like there are so many lines in here that are just insane. And a lot of them are almost like kind of throwaway.
I think there's a reason it became a cult classic.
Yes, no, for sure. This is the type of movie that becomes a cult classic because I feel like what it isn't strong at is like the things that make a movie successful, but it is so unique and so different and so funny and quotable that like has the makings of a cult classic. But like overall, if this was in a theater and like the average American was going to watch it, they'd be like, oh my God, what the hell is this? So, and that does make me like it a little bit more because it's like, oh, it's weird and it's unapologetic about being weird. Yeah. Which is fun.
I think also, not to touch on the musical, but they combine Martha and Betty Finn into one character. And I think that works a bit better in a way because they have this setup that Betty is the friend that never was, like the Heathers before the Heather. And they have like, her name is Veronica Sawyer and then Betty Finn. They're connecting them in this way. But then they do nothing with that in the end. Yeah. It's kind of odd.
That's a good point.
That is a good point.
I think actually that might make me like the movie better if instead of Martha Dump Truck Dunsock, it was Betty Finn at the end, because I kind of do. It does feel a little bit more like cyclical than like it wraps it up a little nicer.
It's like staying wholesome in a way, or just like
or kind of I guess paying off the things that they set up as well from like a writing perspective.
Yeah,
I agree. I am also like, I guess I'll just throw out my score too. It's a 3.5.
That's what I thought. I just had a feeling.
Yeah, me too.
You know, I really enjoy it. It definitely is not my go-to. I like dark comedies, but I feel like they're not that rewatchable to me personally.
I can see that.
And that's why it's kind of not a 4, but it's still, I mean, I can see why it's a cult classic. This is something where I do enjoy it every time I do watch it, even if I don't watch it a lot.
I do want to say, I haven't watched that many dark comedies. I feel like that probably is true, that they're not as rewatchable. However, I would like to rewatch this. Probably not like shortly. I feel like this one is just going to be better upon second watch. Because I think I've said that before on the podcast. There's some movies where it just feels like once you know what happens, you're more able to like exist in that movie. And for me, I was just kind of like, what I'm trying to figure out what's going on. What's the tone? What's the angle that they're taking? And now that I know it, now that I've watched it, and when I rewatch it again, I'll be like, okay, I get it. I see why this stuff happened a little bit more. So I feel like this one could go up to a 3 at some point, but it'll probably be at least a year before I rewatch it again, because it is still fresh in my mind. It's not one of those ones that's like instantly rewatchable, in my opinion.
I put this movie at a 4.
Oh,
It is not 5 stars because I do see like issues in the plot or just things that are it doesn't feel completely finished to me in a way, and I think sometimes the tone of, or the dryness again, is just something that doesn't impact me in the same way. But I do love it. I love the aesthetic as well. I think that's one of the main things that makes it better than a lot of other teen comedies or dark comedies, where it's just they have a very clear vision and aesthetic for it. I love the characterization of JD. I think that's a great character, as well as Veronica. And did you see Mr. Mosby?
no, I saw his name in the credits and I was like, I know who that is. And I did not. Where was he?
Yeah. You remember the one black guy?
No. I thought it was only white people in the movie, honestly.
There was one black character where right before they're like, oh, you had the sword fight in your mouth.
Oh.
He's talking about the yearbook. That was Mr.
That's
Mosby.
crazy. I saw the double L on Phil and I was like, I'm pretty sure that's him. I think that's the only guy that spells it like that. Wow. Shout out.
Anyway, just had to mention that.
That's a great fun fact.
That is.
I feel like this is one that is almost like an essential movie to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've watched some movies that I feel like, oh yeah, that's good. I'm glad I watched this. This is one where it's like, yeah, I would put this on a list of like 100 movies you have to see, because I could see this like working extremely well for some people and others hating it completely and thinking that this is one of the worst things ever made. And I like those kind of movies because I often am in the middle and I don't know why. I don't know. I can see both sides.
It does feel like a script a teenager would write, like in the midst of it as well. I don't know if he was at the time of writing it, but I think like, especially with the band, the song, the Teenage Suicide, Don't Do It.
Yeah.
That always makes me laugh.
That's a great running joke.
I don't know. I like how it does feel like somebody not wanting adults to patronize them in a way.
Yeah, this was just a really fun combo, I think. Also, I did give both of them the same score, so
Me too.
I feel like that speaks to how good of a pairing they are. And yeah, I'm always happy to revisit this film. And like I said, I was very, very intrigued to see what you would think, Brandon. So I'm happy to know. I can gauge dark comedies better now based off what you gave this film.
I'm sorry to say that I don't have a strong feeling either way on this one, which I feel like has happened a few times where it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to say. And then I just say essentially nothing, which is, I don't know how to feel about this.
Right.
But yeah, I'm glad I watched it. I think this is very interesting. I do think this was a really good pairing. So I guess next episode that you're on, Bekah, will be Heather's and supposed former infatuation junkie next year, and we'll watch it again
Yeah.
and see if it works better with another Alanis album. But
It kind of works better for that one, I would say.
you should have stuck to the original. No, I liked this album, I think, more than I probably would have liked the other one. I feel like I agree with you that this is probably a better introduction than the other album. So now that I know, I am able to experience the next album, and I'm primed and I'm ready. And just like that, I have primed the audience to know that it is the end of the episode.
That's right.
And before we launch into that, I have to say thank you so much, Bekah, for joining. This was so much fun. I love these guest episodes.
Oh, yeah. Same.
And I love it when it's our number one fan of all time being on the podcast as well.
I love guest episodes too.
Will you listen to your own guest episode?
I don't know if I can. I don't know what I said. I was just going to go blah, 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 the whole time. So
I think you
I don't know if I can listen back.
Someday.
I learned how to listen to my own voice through the podcast. So
I'm doing it on 2X for sure.
Yes.
That's the way to go.
All right. This is the time where you get to plug anything and everything that you want people to follow you on.
I have an Instagram. I have TikTok. I have YouTube. They're Bekah Bobo, Bekah spelling of Bekah.
And we will link these in our description, so you can also find it there.
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
I was thinking of making a Heather's inspired outfit, so maybe we'll do that.
You should. That'd
would
be awesome.
Tune in to see that.
Drop it on the same day the podcast episode drops.
I will.
Brand synergy.
I will.
You have a couple of weeks.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Now we have to tell everyone to like and subscribe and hit that notification button.
Smash.
Yeah, smash the notification button. But yes, thank you everyone for listening to another wonderful, maybe even amazing episode of Uncultured Pop Culture.
Yes.
We are on Instagram as well, which of course will be linked in the description of this episode as usual. We have our link tree there, which has Rate Your Music and Letterboxd, which we both are somewhat active on one of them.
Kind of.
Each. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what else do we have? Oh, we have an email, upcpod@gmail.com. I'm forgetting something.
And don't forget to tell your friends, tell your families, and give us a review on Apple Podcasts. I forget they're separate. If you want to help us out there. Are they?
I don't know. Neither of us know. We don't have Apple products. I mean, I have a Mac, but
case,
I don't give a shit about it.
If you're on Apple, give us a review there. Is there something else we have to mention?
I don't know. I feel like we're forgetting something. Are we forgetting something, Bekah? You listen to the podcast.
Maybe not.
Okay, then I guess we're good.
Go check out that Instagram to find out what next week's episode is going to be.
Yes, exactly. I think that is actually what we were missing. That's the thing.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
We will see you next week.
Bye.